The Federal Reserve, a hot topic discussed by Elon Musk often lately, is one of the most powerful institutions in the United States, yet many Americans don't fully understand what it is or how it came to be. In fact, the story of the Federal Reserve isn't just about economic policy. It's about power, control, and the influence of a small group of banking elites. But how did this institution come into existence? And what does its creation tell us about the relationship between government and the private sector? Let's break it all down. Hi, I'm Danny, and today we're going to talk about the creation of the Federal Reserve, the powerful banking cartel behind it, and the role this private enterprise plays in our economy. It's often said that the Federal Reserve was created to stabilize the economy and provide a safer banking system. But was it really about that? Or was it more about consolidating power into the hands of a few financial elites? Let's go back in time to understand. In the late 1800s, the United States was in the midst of a financial crisis. Banks were failing, the economy was volatile, and there was a lack of trust in the nation's financial system. One of the key reasons for this instability was the country's reliance on a system of private banks that issued their own currency. But that wasn't the only issue. In fact, as the US economy expanded, so did the power of a few financial institutions. By the turn of the century, a small group of elite bankers, led by figures like J.P. Morgan, began to dominate not only the financial world, but the political world as well. In the years leading up to the creation of the Federal Reserve, there were several major banking panics, most notably the Panic of 1907. This crisis saw widespread bank runs and a collapse in credit, which brought the nation to its knees. Despite their influence, the private banks were incapable of addressing the financial turmoil on their own. But in the wake of this crisis, something interesting happened. A group of these powerful bankers, including J.P. Morgan, began meeting behind closed doors to discuss the solution. In 1910, a secret meeting was held on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. The attendees included some of the most influential bankers and financial figures of the time. They were plotting the creation of what would become the Federal Reserve. This meeting was so secretive that the participants even used code names to avoid detection. These powerful men, including J.P. Morgan, Paul Warburg, and others, realized that a centralized banking system would benefit them and their interests immensely. They proposed the creation of a national bank that would be able to control money supply, set interest rates, and provide emergency bailouts to struggling banks, all in the name of stabilizing the economy. So, in 1913, after years of lobbying and behind-the-scenes maneuvering, the Federal Reserve Act was passed by Congress, creating the Federal Reserve System. But here's the catch. Although it's called a Federal Reserve, it is not a government entity. The Federal Reserve is a private corporation owned by member banks. Yes, you heard that right. A private corporation with vast powers over the US economy. One of the major criticisms of the Federal Reserve is that it serves the interests of the banking cartel rather than the average American citizen. Critics argue that the Fed has helped create a system where the financial elites become richer, while ordinary people face higher debt, stagnant wages, and financial insecurity. Moreover, when financial crises occur, like the 2008 collapse, the Federal Reserve steps in to bail out the same banks that caused the problem in the first place. Meanwhile, the rest of the population suffers from job losses, home foreclosures, and financial instability. Now, some might argue that the Federal Reserve's role is necessary for the overall stability of the economy. And yes, it has prevented some catastrophes. But we need to ask, is it truly serving the best interests of the American people, or is it simply propping up a system that benefits a select few? The truth is, the Federal Reserve was designed by and for the banking elite. Its creation was less about solving the nation's financial problems and more about consolidating control over the money supply and ensuring that the financial elite would continue to thrive. The Federal Reserve also competes with the U.S. Treasury for control over money creation. The Fed can create money by issuing loans to banks, while the Treasury can issue currency directly. The balance between these two forces is often in tension, but one thing is clear: the creation of money is concentrated in the hands of private bankers, not the government, and that's a situation that benefits them at our expense. So when you hear about the Federal Reserve, remember, it's not just an abstract concept, it's a private institution with a profound influence on your life, your money, and your future. Its creation was not an accident. It was the result of a powerful banking cartel making sure that the system worked for them. And while the Fed may claim to protect the American economy, its policies often favor the rich and powerful. It's up to us to stay informed and ask tough questions about the role of the Federal Reserve in our lives, and whether it's truly serving the public good or just a few elite interests. Well, that would be all for this video. If you found it insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more videos like this. And please do share your thoughts on the Federal Reserve and whether you believe that the new government's rhetoric surrounding the Fed is just another election campaign, or do you think they truly have the willpower to stand up to this banking cartel? I am curious to find out what you think. Leave a comment below and let's talk about it. Until our next adventure, please stay well, stay safe, and be informed. Thanks for watching.